Welcome to Somerville Television's first mayoral candidate debate. I'm Herbert Hall, chairman of the Somerville Television Committee and station manager of VILLEtv. Several months ago, we approached the two candidates for mayor about the possibility of a televised debate. We at VILLEtv, and I'm sure all of you, are grateful that both candidates agreed to help us all make an informed decision on Tuesday, November 8. The candidates agreed that Loren Fisher would moderate and develop questions for the debate. During the past few weeks, the candidates met with Loren and me to develop debate format and review the technical aspects to ensure that neither candidate was disadvantaged by camera angles, lighting, sound, and so on. And now we turn the program over to moderator Loren Fisher, who will explain the format and pose his questions to the candidates.
Welcome to the debate of Somerville mayoral candidates Republican Brian Gallagher and Democrat Dennis Sullivan. I am Loren Fisher, a Somerville resident and editor of SomervilleToday.com, a website dedicated to news about Somerville. I was asked by the candidates to moderate the debate and to create the questions to be asked. I solicited questions from the public, and many of their questions are included. The format for the debate is as follows. Right before we started, a coin toss determined that Mr. Sullivan would be the first to deliver a 3-minute opening statement. After Mr. Sullivan's statement, Mr. Gallagher will give his opening statement. Then the questions begin. Since Mr. Sullivan won the coin toss, he will get the first question from me and will have 1 minute to respond. I will then ask Mr. Gallagher the same question, and he will also have 1 minute to respond. Mr. Sullivan will then have 30 seconds for rebuttal. From then, candidates will alternate being the first to answer my question. The debate will last approximately 30 minutes. So, Mr. Sullivan, please start with your opening statement.
Hello, I'm Dennis Sullivan, member of the Somerville Borough Council, proud resident of Somerville for 33 years. Back in July of 1973, I had a job interview at Vanderveer School. I remember sitting at my parents' kitchen table in Staten Island, looking at a New Jersey map and thinking to myself, Somerville might be a good place to work, and if I like it, maybe move there someday. Little did I realize at the time, but my decision to accept that job was probably one of the best decisions I've ever made. Somerville's landscape has changed a great deal in the last 3 decades. We see some new buildings on Main Street. We see some old ones being demolished or renovated. All throughout town, new trees, curbs, and sidewalks are brightening our residential neighborhoods. Homeowners are painting, pruning, shoveling, hammering. Pride in Somerville has never been higher, and the beauty of the town shows. Now it's time to choose leaders to chart Somerville's future over the next few years. Most of you are busy working, raising your families, paying your bills, and you don't have time to devote to town government. That's why you have to choose people that have your best interests at heart. You know me, you've supported me in the past, and I look forward to the challenges I'll face as your next mayor. One thing that hasn't changed in Somerville is the spirit of this great town. The spirit that supports a blue ribbon school system, a spirit that brings volunteers out in ever-increasing numbers, a spirit that drives neighbors to reach out to people less fortunate in times of need. It's that spirit I'm especially proud of, and proud to have served you for as long as I have. Somerville will change in the next few years. We'll see some taller buildings, we'll see some more traffic, but we must remember that Somerville, at the end of the day, is about pushing your child or grandchild in a swing at the park, attending a football game, talking to your neighbor over the back fence. That's what makes a community strong. And that's where I want to lead us. Along with my running mates Ken Utter and Margaret Weinberger, we're an experienced, mature, thoughtful, hardworking team. We look forward to your support. Somerville gave me hope and opportunity back in 1973. I want that hope and opportunity to continue now and into the future. And as your next mayor, I pledge my honest effort to do so. Thank you.
Mr. Gallagher, please give us your opening statement.
Thank you. Good morning. Somerville is on the move. I'm Mayor Brian Gallagher, and I'm asking for your confidence to continue leading our borough for the next 4 years. This election is about leadership and vision for the betterment of our borough, not for a political party or a special interest group, but who has proven they have made critical decisions based solely upon the long-term good for Somerville. Times are tough, but there is an atmosphere of opportunity, excitement, and civic pride. I have worked hard to refocus Somerville as the economic, social, recreational, historic, and residential center of Somerset County. We are proud to tell people we are from Somerville. If there is one chorus coming from the people of Somerville, it is high taxes. We are overburdened and underfunded, and there is no one distinct solution. To tackle this, government must change the way it is delivered, and status quo thinking does not accomplish change. I am driving change. Borough government is smaller and more efficient today with over 15 fewer employees. We joined the county health department, saving $80,000. We went wireless in parking enforcement, saving $30,000. I demanded a 5% cost reduction from our professionals if they want to do business with the borough. Dispatching for our police department will transfer to county this year, seeing savings in excess of $300,000. And with our library on the brink of failure, I moved swiftly to save one of our treasured institutions. As part of the county library system, we can now provide our citizens with better services, technology, materials, and programming at a savings of over $175,000. To those that fought and voted against this change, including my opponent, you are wrong. And to our citizens, I am not finished yet. Status quo is over. I am leading the drive for a better way to reduce the size of government, to manage better how government is delivered, and gain control of escalating tax dollars. Through vision and leadership, ShopRite opened its doors this past week, and all can see the success this brings to downtown. But that is just the start of a much larger projects which are underway. Here it comes, folks. Somerville is on the move. Vision, leadership, and the drive to push through bold new ideas, that is what Somerville deserves and what I bring to the table, not a return to the status quo. We live in a very special community, one that cares deeply and shares a common vision for the place we call our home, Somerville. I am Mayor Brian Gallagher, and I ask for your confidence in my re-election, along with Nick Stiers and Amanda Vaughn O'Neill for council. Thank you, and God bless.
Thank you, Mr. Gallagher. So now we'll start the question and answer portion of the show. Mr. Sullivan, if someone were to ask you, why should I open a business or buy a home in Somerville, what would be your top selling point? You have 1 minute.
Yes, Somerville is the hub. Geographically, infrastructure-wise, road network, train access, population demographics, but more importantly, we have a tradition as a community. We have hardworking people who look for value, demand good service. I think the move towards shopping in a mall, driving 15 or 20 minutes, hunting for a place to park, is over with. I think even the world is growing smaller, and I think people are starting to appreciate the fact that you can live and work and shop within a smaller radius. You save time, you save gas, you have more personal service. I think the town itself and the steps we've taken speak for themselves. We have a lot of businesses opening, and I would encourage everyone to do so.
Mr. Gallagher, if someone were to ask you, why should I open a business or buy a home in Somerville, what would be your top selling point?
Somerville is downtown Somerset County. We've created an atmosphere of economic revitalization. We've created an atmosphere that welcomes business. We're seeing private investment dollars, significant private investment dollars. We're seeing public dollars. Let's face it, investment goes where it's going to earn a return. And if you look on Main Street at this point, you've got major infrastructure going on. You've got major investment in downtown buildings. But in addition, you also have small investors, and that's key to the success of any downtown. When you have small investors and small business owners who are investing back in their property, that's the sign of success. We have issues, absolutely, but we're tackling them. If you take a look at Division Street, we're crafting a way to make this the connection to the New Jersey Transit Station in our downtown. So Main Street and the transit station can now be connected. It's a wonderful opportunity. Bring your business to Somerville. You will succeed.
Mr. Sullivan, you have a 30-second rebuttal.
Yes, we've spent a lot of time discussing business, and I think we neglected the homeowner. A community is only as strong and viable as its school system. Our school system is second to none. Our high school and middle school have been recognized by national entities as being top grade. I speak from personal experience. Both my daughters went K to 12, and they did very well.
Thank you. Okay, so in Somerville's system of government, a mayor only votes when on ordinances when there is a tie. So Mr. Gallagher, with so little real power, what can a mayor do to affect change?
Leadership. It's all about leadership. What a mayor does is bring to the table new ideas, and bold new ideas, and presents them to the council. At times it can be frustrating because I don't have the ability to vote. But what I do have the ability to do is to lead the council and lead the public in developing new ideas and creating an atmosphere in our borough for the resident, for the community, and by crafting new ideas, shared services with the schools, recreational programs for our kids, by joining organizations within the county and the state and promoting the Somerville idea statewide. The advantage the mayor has is the visibility. It's the public perception, it's the public persona. And you need to epitomize Somerville, and that's really a mayor's job. You need to attend events and you need to be public and pushing your ideas and bringing them forward to make Somerville succeed.
Mr. Sullivan, with so little real power, what can a mayor do to affect change?
The mayor, to use a football analogy, with this keeping with the season, mayor should be the #1 cheerleader for the town. As Brian said so eloquently, he's got the high profile, he's got the visibility. People look to the mayor for direction. But on the day-to-day operations of the town, it's critical for the mayor to work very carefully and closely with the other 6 council people that are there. We depend on each other. We each bring separate strengths and areas of expertise to the table, and it's critical that it all work together. At the end of the day, we're all working for the common good. It's mayor and council. Everything we do comes out in a joint effect, and by working together, we all have the same goal at the end of the day.
Okay. Mr. Gallagher, 30 seconds.
Yeah, one of the jokes at the last council meeting was that I've never had the ability to break a tie. And I think that says something. A mayor's job is also to corral the council and to get them to agree with the visions and the plans that the mayor brings forward. And I think I've done that extremely well across party lines. When it comes down to Somerville, it's not about party lines. It's not about Democrat versus Republican. It's about what's best for Somerville. And I've driven that, and that is the goal of the mayor.
Okay. By far, the most input I've gotten from residents about high property taxes. Mr. Gallagher, Mr. Sullivan, questions for you first. Do you think that high property taxes are a problem, and what will you do about the borough's share of the property tax bill?
There is no doubt if you got 100 people together and did a survey, 99 of them would say, I love Somerville except for the taxes. I like to use the analogy of an 8-cylinder car. Even though there are very few 8-cylinder cars now, I think we're all familiar with how they used to be. Somerville only has 5 spark plugs firing. 36% of our properties are tax exempt, and that puts a tremendous burden on our residential taxpayers as well as our business taxpayers. We need help from the state and from the county, and that's legislative action that the mayor is going to have to work with the Freeholder Board and with our representatives in state government. We are proud to be a county seat. We're a great host community. That does come with a price. It's not our spending. Our spending is under control. We don't have the ability to raise enough revenue, and that must change.
Mr. Gallagher, do you think it is a problem, and what will you do about the borough's share of the tax bill?
Absolutely, it is a problem. But the difference is I refuse to allow Somerville to be a victim. Do we have a challenge with 38% of our property non-taxable? Absolutely. But waiting for the county and the state to try to fix our problem is not going to do it. We have to take economic matters into our own hands and find the solution. And we've done that. By redeveloping our property, what we are doing is beginning to transfer that burden off of the residential tax base and put it onto the commercial tax base. That's one of the caveats behind redevelopment. If you create a viable, thriving economic engine downtown, the value of that increases, and the value of property owners increases throughout town. And that's the goal. I can't sit back and wait and just point fingers at Trenton and say, it's your fault. We share in that. And over the years, I have created an opportunity for us to have a better life here through economic development.
Mr. Sullivan, you have 30 seconds.
There's no doubt that we have some underperforming properties in town, and it's critical that we take steps to bring those back onto the tax rolls. We've done a pretty good job in crafting some plans. We are at the mercy at times of the economy. We are seeing great steps downtown, and I know that will trigger further investment. We have to be careful with our spending, which we've done. We're going to continue to do so. Any new tax dollar we can bring in is going to lessen the burden on the rest of us.
The school system accounts for about half of the property tax bill. Mr. Gallagher, how do you feel about the school's portion of the tax bill, and can anything be done about it from the borough's point of view?
Absolutely. Obviously, we have one of the best schools in the entire state, and I think it's a best kept secret. People choose where they want to live based on their school system, and we're extremely lucky to have the best in public and private schools. Our schools provide the foundation for all of our children. I have 5 children in the Somerville school system. I know the value of it. There is a benefit to having a wonderful school system, and we need to keep that in place. It's an investment that our residents have decided is worth it. Is it a significant investment? Absolutely. But our residents have decided that they want to make that investment. Now, from the borough side, what we've done is actually created more shared services. We're doing technology services with the Board of Education. We're doing plowing services now, with shared services with the Board of Education. It's the ability for us to work together in a good relationship, which will make it even further success.
Mr. Sullivan, how do you feel about the school's portion of the tax bill, and what can be done by the borough, if anything?
About 60% of our taxes goes to the schools. I feel it's money well spent. My grandson is 3 years old. He will be attending the schools in 2 years, and I look forward to him going through the school system, as did my own kids. We need to create new taxable properties, whether it be on the landfill, Kirby Avenue, on the East End. Any new tax dollar that comes into town will have a significant benefit to the school system. Our public supports the schools. We've had some referendums that in other towns would probably not have passed. We have excellent facilities, a tremendous staff, a very hardworking student body, and I think our test scores and objective opinions of our schools speak to that. We must increase the size of the pot that the schools and the borough can draw from through creative and aggressive redevelopment.
Mr. Gallagher, 30 seconds.
Yeah, I also think that there's an ability here to develop a better relationship with the new school superintendent, Dr. Purnell. And we've done just that. We've had discussions, and we're continuing discussions now about opening up the school facilities. There's a general thinking now between the Board of Education and the borough, much closer thinking, that we're all in this together. And the more that we can share services and the more that we can share facilities, such as recreation facilities, the better off we all are. And that's the drive now.
Okay. The ShopRite is here, and the next phase of downtown redevelopment is underway. Mr. Sullivan, what lessons were learned from the borough's dealings with JSM properties that can be applied to the final phase and also to the landfill development?
I guess it's a simple statement, you know, 1 step forward, 2 steps back. We learned a lot in developing a site as large and as complex as the site that just opened. We have to remember we're dealing with private property and private entities, as well as governmental regulation and just the general red tape of day-to-day operations of government. But I think everyone worked together, everyone had a common goal to get the ShopRite open on or before time, and create an optimism and a mechanism to move the rest of the project forward. I think that the lessons we've learned through this are just gonna make the make the next phase much more amiable for everybody. We know the partners now. We've worked together. We may not be able to read each other's mind, but I think we can anticipate better. And there's a general willingness to work together and get things done.
Mr. Gallagher, what lessons were learned from the borough's dealings with JSM properties that can be applied to the final phase and also to the landfill development?
I think that it's primarily that the decisions that the Borough Council faces are economic decisions and not necessarily legal decisions. When I came into this office, we were quagmired in legal decisions centered around the landfill. And I took that and I led it to an economic decision. And once you turn that corner and understand that these are economic decisions for the long-term benefit of the borough, it takes on a new life and it takes on a new meaning. Because the outside investment world is more concerned with the investment decision, the economic decision. And having that ability and having professionals in place, let's face it, the mayor and council are part-time. We don't do this full-time as a full-time job, although most of the time it is. But having spent morning, noon, and night working on this, the goal here is bring in the professionals who understand this. And that's something that wasn't done prior to this. We've brought in the professionals. They understand how to get work done to make Somerville succeed.
Mr. Sullivan, you have 30 seconds.
Again, we have to trust the people that are on the ground full-time. Even though, as Brian said, it seems like we're making 60 hours a week sometimes. It is a labor of love, but we are, still lay people. And it is important that we bring good resources in and work with them. Just remember who put us in the seats and whose interests we're working for.
The flooding in the borough is getting worse and more frequent. Some residents think that the Mountain Brook flood walls are backing up water into Somerville. Mr. Gallagher, do you think that is the case, and what can be done to alleviate the flooding?
It's entirely possible. We don't know. I'm not a professional. However, we have taken steps. We just introduced an ordinance at the last meeting which will put us into the Raritan-Millstone Flood Control Commission. And this is the first step, and it's probably a long overdue step. All the municipalities along the Raritan and Millstone rivers are getting together, all the mayors, and we're saying to county, state, and federal government, we have a problem, and it's a problem long overdue. Did the Greenbrook Flood Control Commission lend itself to our flooding? My personal opinion, yes. I think it exacerbated it, absolutely. We saw very severe flooding in Somerville and surrounding communities, and it's becoming more frequent and more severe, and something needs to be done. The good thing is that the borough was prepared for this. We made effort to advise our residents and make sure that everybody was safe.
Okay, Mr. Sullivan, do you think that Bound Brook flood walls affected the flooding here, and what can be done to alleviate our flooding?
Again, I'm not an engineer or hydrologist, but I know that blacktop doesn't drain like grass. We unfortunately are now the victim of our own redevelopment, not only here but in the surrounding area. And when you pipe water and bring it to a central location, that just concentrates the effect of the water. We have a regional center of which we're a partner. We're going to have to be creative and careful moving forward. We're working with the sewage authority to rectify some problems that exist in that area, and hopefully we can address those as well. We have a problem. We prepared for this storm. Is it the last storm? No. But we have to look not just to ourselves but to all of our neighbors and work cooperatively, because people that live on high ground, their water affects us. We have to be sure that we take care of that in the future.
Mr. Gallagher, you have 30 seconds.
Yeah, I don't think we'll ever solve the problem, but we can mitigate it through zoning ordinances and really taking and I advise council of this, we need to begin to take a serious look on the borough facilities that are located in the floodplains, as well as residential areas along the floodplain, and understand that when these disasters happen, how we can get folks out quickly, but how we can mitigate it in the future and make these less severe.
Both of you are on the planning board. Mr. Sullivan, what should Somerville have in 10 years that we don't have now?
A lot more rateable property and a lot more creative reuse of property that is vacant right now. We're a train-developed town. There's a lot of property along the train line that years ago was industrial warehouse type use. And things have changed, land uses have changed, and we have some opportunity there, I think, to redevelop those properties. The fact that we have a train line is a benefit. It's something that other towns don't have and are not likely to get in the future. Transit's made a big investment in our town, and they're doing it because they sense that this is a growth community. I'd like to see some affordable housing, and of course the public sometimes misconstrues low-income housing with affordable housing. I'm talking about market rate, average homes that the average family can afford. We need that in Somerville.
Mr. Gallagher, what should Somerville have in 10 years that we don't have now?
A developed landfill, without a doubt. It's been too long. When I came into this job for 20 years, it was in litigation. It's now out of litigation. The New Jersey Transit portion of the landfill, which is about 30-plus acres, is out for proposals to 4 developers. We're expecting those back in December. This is the catalyst. Downtown was the catalyst, and now we've got the landfill in line next. In addition, Kirby Avenue redevelopment area needs to be redeveloped, which we're addressing now based upon market conditions, and also the East End. There are areas in town. Somerville can't grow out anymore, so we have to take and utilize those pieces of property that we have and that we have control of and access to, and develop them with smart housing and smart commercial properties. One of the key goals is first-time home buyer. After the war, on the other side of the hospital, the war homes were put up. They're economically viable. People can afford them, and it creates a strong, stable community.
Mr. Sullivan, you have 30 seconds.
One area we need to address is parking. We have a parking problem downtown, which is a good problem to have, because it means that there are more people coming to town to shop than we have capacity for. By creating new rateable properties, we're going to increase the demand for parking, and we're probably going to need some structure. We can't grow out, we have to grow up. And I'd like to see some parking to accommodate residential as well as commercial use.
Resident Thomas Burke wrote me to say that he frequently sees speeding on North Bridge Street and rarely, if ever, sees a vehicle stopped by police. The problem exists on many other streets in town. Mr. Gallagher, do you have concerns about speeding on our streets and what can be done to curb it?
Absolutely. We did a study with the county a few years ago, and they created a map and highlighted those areas of town in red that had a potential speeding problem. And every street except, I think, Washington Place, which is a dead end, had a speeding problem. Through the regional center, we have taken steps to begin to reduce that. We have traffic speed bumps on Cliff Street and on Spring Street to try to slow traffic down. We've put up speed radar signs on Mountain Avenue and on Grove Street to try to reduce, and on Bridge to try to reduce the speed of traffic. One of the criticals is pedestrian safety, and we had a big discussion about this at our last council meeting. And the idea that, you know, the primary goal here is pedestrian safety. It's not speed of cars. And it's not even slowing them down. It's to ensure that we have our pedestrians safe. And I had a conversation last night with another resident on Grove Street who had the exact same issue. And we're not done yet. We're going to make it even safer.
Mr. Sullivan, do you have concerns about speeding on our streets and what can be done about it?
I am concerned. Like I said before, I have a 3-year-old grandson, and you know, although we're all careful, we want our children to be safe. We are anticipating sometime in the spring of next year the county commissioned police consolidation report. And although it's too premature to make decisions, I hope that part of that study will talk about traffic patrols, traffic safety. We are concerned. We have purchased some of the speed indicators. We put traffic calming strips up here and there. Our police department does a great job, but again, they can't be everywhere all the time. I'm hoping that as we move forward and consolidate, whether with the county system or whether in our own use, that we can have a much more viable traffic safety patrol.
Mr. Gallagher, 30 seconds.
Nothing stops speeders like a police officer in a car on the street with radar guns. People slow down or they get a ticket. And that's what needs to happen. When I came into office 8 years ago, our police department was down to 27 or 28 officers. Over the past 8 years, it has gone up. The police department is our front line of defense against this type of action and also against the bad guys. And the idea that we need to keep our police department up to snuff so that they can be out there and visible.
For years, there has been lots of discussion about shared services. Mr. Sullivan, in your opinion, are there any shared services that you strongly feel should not be shared?
Good question. The goal of a shared service is to have a good or better service at a reduced cost. And you have to look at each opportunity. Shared services do not always mean less cost. It's hard for the public to believe that, but you have to look at each individual case. We've been very proactive in Somerville. We used to get state aid called a Reap and Ready credit for special shared services that we had implemented in the past. We've been on the forefront of that since we shared our health department many, many years ago. We've moved the health department over to the county. We're in the process of doing the same with dispatch services. We have an ongoing dialogue with the schools. We're always looking for consolidation. If we can do it more efficiently, better, and at a less cost, it must be done.
Mr. Gallagher, in your opinion, are there shared services that you strongly feel should not be shared?
There are two caveats to any shared service arrangement. One is the reduction of cost, and the second is improved level of service. If those two can't be met, the service should not take place. Having said that, there are instances where there may not be a significant amount of savings, but there may be an improvement of service level. And I think you have to take a look at that. You know, we're looking right now at the idea of sharing courts with Raritan, and it makes sense. Is there going to be a huge savings in the short term? There'll be a significant savings, but sometimes the saving is more long term than it is short term. And you have to have the ability to understand that if you don't save in certain instances, another community might, but that will return on other shared services. So you need to take a look at each shared service as its own entity. And I don't think there's anything off the table right now. I think everything in today's age is on the table and it's got to be looked at.
Mr. Sullivan, you have 30 seconds.
New Jersey loves its home rule. Every town has its own garbage truck. Every town has its own police car. And at the end of the day, I think people are going to have to understand that at some point we have to share. It's going to be important for myself as a new mayor and hopefully some new mayors in surrounding towns to sit down and say, how can we do it better?
Property values in town have plummeted in the last few years. Mr. Gallagher, do you have any ideas to stop the free fall?
Absolutely. Downtown is the economic engine for Somerville. Without a viable, thriving downtown, our residences will suffer. We're seeing the economic repercussions of a recession. They say recession, it's really a depression nationwide. And it's having a significant effect on every homeowner, and that's across the board. The idea here is to create this viable, thriving economic engine downtown. And that then has reverberations, it has repercussions throughout the entire community. And people say, I want to be a part of that community. That's what increases property values. That's what that creates a stable, thriving community. Good schools, solid police force, great community services, great municipal services. Having these in place is what creates that viable, thriving, stable community.
Mr. Sullivan, do you have any ideas to stop the property value free fall?
The value of your home depends on what someone will give you. If someone wants to live in your community, the prices will be stable, if not go up. I paid a little bit more for my house in 1978 than I would have for a similar home in another town, but that other town didn't have a hospital, didn't have a thriving downtown, didn't have a school system anywhere near the caliber of ours. And plus, I could walk to work from where I was, which saved me a tremendous amount. Taxes do also drive a homeowner's decision, and if we can keep our taxes stable, your taxes get lumped in with your mortgage at the end of the month, and people want to see a total that they can afford. Downtown is important. Side streets are important. Schools are the bellwether. We need to keep all of those bolstered to keep our values stable.
Mr. Gallagher, you have 30 seconds.
Yeah, as we saw this economic freefall happen nationwide, we actually took steps last year. We held a forum with all of the realtors in the area, and we brought them in and told them what's happening in Somerville. And we said, we need you to go out. You're the salespeople for Somerville. You're the front lines. Here's what's happening. Here's where the investment is going on. Here's the success that's coming that is Somerville. And what I can tell you is the realtors walked away from that with the knowledge they did not have. They are one of our best salespeople.
Many people say the number of street people loitering in downtown Somerville seems to be increasing. Mr. Sullivan, do you think police should do more to get them to move along?
I'm not an attorney, but I know we have something called the Constitution and the First Amendment. People feel uncomfortable around individuals who have a different lifestyle or different habits than them. I would not want to be a police officer and have to make a decision on whether someone's activities are illegal or just atypical. I certainly, would want our visitors to town to know that Somerville is a clean, safe community. If there are individual issues, I'm sure that the police department and ultimately the municipal courts are well equipped to handle that. But my message to shoppers or prospective homeowners or visitors to our community is that it's clean, safe, and affordable. We welcome you here. We hope you will enjoy your stay here.
Mr. Gallagher, do you think the police should do more to get people to move along Main Street?
I think Somerville is a clean, safe community. However, I take a zero-tolerance policy. I think a lot of folks who are loitering, who are wandering around town, a lot of times they don't have the ability to make these decisions for themselves. And unfortunately, the courts now are siding with those folks, that even though they don't have the ability, they have a right not to have that ability. And that's wrong. If people have a very difficult time functioning in the normal manners of life, they need help. It's not a matter of moving them along or kicking them out. It's getting them the help that they need. And whether that's mental health, whether that's medical help, there needs to be a mechanism in place that provides that for them. Somerset County does a good job of that. The problem is a lot of times we can't force them. And the courts only allow it to go so far. To some degree, our police department's hands are tied because of the court system in this state, and it's wrong. I go for zero tolerance.
Mr. Sullivan, you have 30 seconds.
As the county seat, Somerville finds itself in a position of being the host for many nonprofit organizations as well as the county services that deal with people that have needs. I know firsthand, as a special educator for over 30 years, not everyone has the same cognitive, social, emotional level of maturity or development. And it's important that we work with the county to get those people the help they need.
Okay, this will be our last question today. No applause. Mr. Gallagher, what do you say to mothers with children who can't take their toddlers to public pools because of budget cuts?
I say that they can. We have 2 pools that are open and thriving. We have the Park Avenue pool and we have the Walnut Street pool. They are being utilized, I can tell you, at a great rate. One of the things I did a few years ago was to create a master plan for recreation, to work with recreation. We got them funding to create this. And they have plans to create a much better water park for our moms. And my wife is one of those moms. The problem comes down to money. So our situation now is we have to maintain what we have. In this economy, we have to maintain. And we've got great pools. They're operating wonderfully. Can we do better? Absolutely. We just put a new young man on the Recreation Commission as of Monday night. we're trying to breathe new life and new blood into the Recreation Commission so that they can brainstorm and come up with better ways and better ideas on how to create even more facilities for these moms.
Mr. Sullivan, what do you say to mothers with children who can't take their toddlers to public schools because of budget cuts?
Our pools are open. Would it be nice to have a pool on every street? Sure. That's just not reality. It's not feasible. Pools are a high maintenance, high safety issue. We need sufficient staff. We need to make sure the water's tested and it's clean. We have 2 good pools that service a town of our size, and I have used them before, and I look forward to using them with little Adam, next summer as well. We have a very good, very hard-working Recreation Commission. If you look at the dollars that are allotted to the Rec Commission in the borough budget and look at the programs they provide, it's incredible the job they do. We do have a new director on board, and we look forward to working with him on expanding not just summer activities, but year-round activities for seniors all the way down to preschoolers. Recreation is alive and well in Somerville, and I intend to keep it that way.
Mr. Gallagher, you have 30 seconds.
Yeah, one of the forgotten populations in recreation are seniors, and I think I've given direction to the Recreation Commission that's an area that they really need to target. They need to do a little bit better job in promoting what they do have. The recreation program, they've got wonderful programs, we've got wonderful facilities, but we need to get that message out there and enable them to folks in town to understand that we do have wonderful recreation programs.
We are out of time, even though I have a lot more questions. I'd like to thank both of the candidates for taking the questions from the citizens of the borough and for participating in this debate. I also want to thank the VILLEtv crew headed by Herb Hall for organizing and producing this debate. I'd urge all residents to vote on November 8th, and I want to remind voters that some polling districts were adjusted earlier this year, so be sure to pay close attention to the times and locations listed on your sample ballots. Thank you and be well.